Well, happy Monday! Welcome to Katie Stories. It's Katie Seriani Bull. It's November 4th, and it's great to be back. Oh, I gotta leave my necklace out. Did you know this necklace? That's a little fingerprint. Can you see that? Oh, it's my sister Debbie. It's her fingerprint, and then a little bit of her ashes are in here. And yeah, I wear her around my neck. I lost her this year. I did talk about that in my intro, I think. Um, and yeah, I'm really missing her. So I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like she's kind of been around. Yeah, and I got a little friend here. Yeah, Alfred, or I call him Jimmy. I change his name all the time. Yeah, he just watches out for me. It's good. He's like my security guard. Sits on my deck. So, I'm back. And again, I'm not picking up the book because, as I said in the last story, we kind of had to zoom with the chapter from, you know, around where my eating disorder was kind of beginning around age 18 in 1985 and just kind of 84, 85, and then zooming ahead to 99. And so I thought, why miss out on some stuff? And my friend Tweezy, hi Tweezy, it's not a real name, it's kind of a nickname. Um, she pointed out, she was like, Katie, we hung out for longer than a year and a half, didn't we? And I was like, oh, yeah, we did. Like how friends just float in and out of your life. And Tweezy, I wanted to tell a story with you and I, and Laura and Sandy when Laura was getting married. Tweezy and Sandy and Laura, they were 19. Laura was 18, but she was getting married. She had a baby on the way. And I was 17 with my fake ID. Off we went to the nightclub. And I'd been doing that since I was 15. And Tweezy kind of, you're my supplier, weren't you? Shh, don't worry, I won't reveal your source. And I got asked for ID by an undercover cop. And so if anybody's from Nanaimo watching this, Officer Wadden, he was a dirty. Yeah, he used to I think like plant stuff on people like hash and then bust them. That's just what we heard anyway in our teenage land. So he comes up to me in the bar and I'm all dressed up in a fancy little jumpsuit drinking wine with these people I babysat for and my friends. Like we weren't out of control. We were actually very cool, well behaved. But yeah, he zoomed in on me and I knew I better not tell him I had fake ID. So I just told him my age, and the bouncer said, "Oh, she's got ID." And I said, "No, no, you're thinking of someone else." And he finally, we could get closed down, and I didn't want my favorite nightclub to get closed down, so I was like, okay. And then I was arrested for false impersonation. And yeah, Tweezy, remember that? You guys didn't know where I went to. They just herded me outside to a cop car, a different cop, and I was crying, "Oh, I was going to be a probation officer, and I wanted to go into law." And he said, "Oh, he's just trying to scare you. Just play along with it." So this other cop was really cool. I had the good cop that gave me the ride to the police station. And once we were there, they put me in this little glass room where everybody could see me walking by, because that's not embarrassing when you're 17. And finally, Officer Wadden comes towards me and he says, "So, your last name's Seriani?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, so your brother Fred?" "Yeah." He get a new car?" I go, no, he just got it painted." "Oh, tell him to stop selling drugs." And I go, "He doesn't sell drugs." He's like, "Yeah, right." And then he said, "Did you know that the maximum imprisonment for false impersonation is 10 years?" And I was only 17, so I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Really?" Kind of mocked me. And then he said, "Okay, I need to call your parents to come get you." And I said, "Well, my dad has a bad temper and he's got a bad heart. So do you think maybe you could get my mom to have my brother bring her down and come get me? She doesn't drive." And he went, "No, mom or dad, you stay the night." And lucky for me, remember I talked about my dad gambling? Yeah, he was out gambling that night. He wasn't home. So my mom had to get my brother to come and get me. I mean, his girlfriend. And so my mom walks in the police station and I'm sitting in that stupid room, and she knows all the cops from all her years of foster care and taking in all the troubled kids. So she's hi, 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 and then glaring at me. And we get in the room and she says, "What are you drinking?" And I said, "Well, yeah, just a glass of wine." And she knew I drank too, right? But I was still being cocky, and she's like, "No, I was drinking." And yeah, the cop wanted to know where I got the ID from. And I said, "Well, from my friend Tweezy." "Well, how old is she?" And I said, "She's 19. "Oh, where'd she get it from?" I said, "Well, she used to use it before she became 19 and she gave it to me." And he said, so she knows you have it? And I said, yeah. And she supplied you with it? Yeah. And he said, well, we're going to have to call her down and press charges for contributing to a minor. I said, but you're not going to find her at home. She's back in the bar. So, yeah, I was that cheeky. And he went, okay, well, how about we cut it up and we'll just forget the whole thing happened. So I was like, yeah, cut it up. Cut it up. It's okay. So then he ended up giving me the speech. You know, young girls, you can be taken advantage of. There's a lot of creeps out there. Really, I hadn't noticed. So, yeah, from that night, that morning, my mom said, Dad wants to talk to you. You know, Dad was laying in bed and wanted me to come and talk with him. And I thought he was going to yell, and he was actually really calm. And he just looked at me and said, you know what, Kate? You're only a kid once. You got one fucking childhood. Enjoy it. As soon as you're older, you can never go back. Enjoy these last years. You're 17 years old. Just enjoy being a kid. And it was really cool. It's cool when you think, you know, you're going to get in big shit for something and someone ends up being pretty calm about it. He'd more like probably go off if I hadn't, you know, put something in the garbage can or, no, I'm just kidding. But that was cool that he was pretty calm. And yeah, so it was kind of the end of my night clubbing for a while. And I think by the time I was 18 and a half, when I got the chance to go to Banff and it was legal age, it was party, I'm going to Banff. So that's Tweezy. Wow, I'm already at 6 minutes. And I was going to talk to you about the 90s. So let's see now. Coming up through the 80s, you know, the 90s, I moved to Vancouver. I spent some time in a relationship that wasn't great for me. And you know what's really funny? If you saw my story today, the picture of me with the dark, really, really big hair, I specifically had that picture taken the day that I was going to tell the person I'd been with for 4 years it wasn't a healthy relationship for me. And yeah, so I remember having that picture taken that day. I stopped at Sears. I had the appointment all ready. And I just sat there and I said, this is the day that this dysfunction ends and I'm on my own. And I'm going to have my picture taken to remember this. So ladies, do that. It's so empowering. I still have that picture and it makes me smile. Because you know what? I wouldn't have met my husband. I wouldn't have the wonderful life I have if I hadn't just decided enough. It's time. What else can I tell you about the 90s? Before I start getting into things and reading that last bit, because that really goes into becoming married and having kids and how I went through all of the counseling and to deal with my eating disorder. But even coming up to that, I had been hiding it. I think a few people may have suspected that I had an eating disorder. And when I was in 1997, my husband and I now, like we were together living in Vancouver, and I was working for an insurance company, and I was, you know, quickly going up the ladder, but we were extremely skeleton staffed, and I was just getting more and more and more loaded on me, and I finally just kind of broke. I went on stress leave. It was crazy, and after, it was really funny because I was really shamed for doing that, and then after taking several weeks off and then a few more, once I came back, I said, no, just transfer me like this. I just want to go back to the other office. And then I had a wonderful opportunity to manage over in West Van, and I took it. And funny how many people actually left our company after that. Like everybody just started having enough and trickling out. So never be scared to stand up for yourself. And it's hard when it's authority, someone above you. The person above me actually, after they got done shaming me, they did apologize. They came to my going away party and said sorry, and realized that they were really just taking it really personal. And I said, well, didn't you have to leave somewhere to get where you are today? And they went, yeah. And so it all worked out. Anyways, it was during that time when I went on stress leave that I went on antidepressants. And I started to notice that I wasn't having any issues with the eating disorder. And I was reading things, and we didn't really have much internet then, so I was reading things in magazines, and I went to my doctor and I just said to him, hey, I hear that antidepressants are used to treat an eating disorder, and I think it's time to tell you I have a problem. I've never been able to tell anybody. And so he was wonderful, and I did go on those antidepressants, and he said I would be on them for the rest of my life. And I accepted that, thinking, well, hey, if that's great, if it's keeping the serotonin balanced and I'm not wanting to abuse food and throw it up, I'm okay with that. But you know what? Through everything, with all of my healing that I've gone through, group therapy, I met someone kind of along the lines of Reiki and energy healing, and we worked on that, and I went off them, and I've never been on them since. And I have not, purged my food since 2003. So always investigate, like, be your own advocate. And if you are suffering from anything, I'm not an expert. I just tell my story and share it and want to inspire. And feel free to reach out to me, Kay, and I'll help put you in touch with, who I think can help you. And just keep looking after you. So next week, I really hope I see you, because it's going to be Remembrance Day. My dad was in World War II. The news came out and interviewed me in 2013. They set up this beautiful interview at my house, and I told them about my dad and mom's post-war romance story. It's beautiful. It's just divine, and it just makes sense why me and the rest of my family are all here. And I'm going to be telling that on Remembrance Day next Monday. So I'll see you then. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for listening. Please, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Katie Sariani Bowl. My link's in the bio. I really appreciate you. Bye.